So, God the Father has many different names that we call him. Moses was commanded to call him Yahweh when speaking to the Egyptians, which means I am who I am. Like, who are you, God? I am existence. But Moses exclaimed to God how that would confuse them. So God changed it to Yahweh, which means the God of your ancestors. Jesus Christ called God Father, obviously because he was the Son of God, and we continue this practice to this very day. He also called him Abba, which means daddy. And obviously, God is a name that we call him. We must be careful when calling him certain names, though, that we have the right agenda in our hearts. For example, when I'm in a time of distress, when I'm lost, when I need guidance in life, I'll call God Dad. Not because I think he's in any way close or equal to my earthly father, but because I have that closeness with my dad that I also have with God. That relationship I have with my dad is very similar to the relationship that I have with God the Father in that respect. So we need to be careful. But if you guys haven't seen me before, then hi. I'm Jack Robertson from The Success Path, where I help you to figure out what your goals are and to create a path there with personal development. If that sounds interesting, then do consider subscribing. I'm qualified to talk about this not because I have a qualification, but because I've been a Christian for about 2 years now, and I've picked up the different ways we talk to God, the different names that we give him, and the different relationships we have with him by the grace of God alone. And I've also noticed some common themes that Christians call God, but I don't think that's important to address in today's video. As you can tell, we're going to be talking about the different relationships we have with God and what we call him in each of those scenarios. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Spirit Renewed YouTube channel, where I help you renew your spirit for success. So, Jesus calls God a friend that is closer than a brother. What does this mean for our relationship with him? Well, it means that we are to communicate to him like we would communicate to a friend. Obviously, we need to remember that he is God, he is powerful, he can put consequences on us when we sin, although he'll never condemn us or punish us, thank you, Jesus. But we should talk to him like we talk to our friend. I call him Yahweh when talking to him like a friend because I don't call my best friend human, I call him Will. So it helps me create that connection with him. But if that's not something you feel you're comfortable with, do not do it. So when talking to God like a friend, you can make respectful jokes. You can laugh about things. God has an excellent sense of humor, and you can speak to him about things you're interested in. You can tell him how you're feeling. This is the kind of relationship that God wants with you, and just he's always there. Talk to him like you would talk to your friend. The next relationship we have with him is that of the discusser, right? So we can discuss our opinions with God, right? And he can fine-tune those opinions, fine-tune those conclusions we come to more fit the truth. I watch a lot of videos like, you guys might find them weird, I don't. I watch videos on like masculinity and stuff like that, what people think. There's a guy called Elliot Halls that has very particular opinions on it. He's a Christian like me, and I seem to either find myself completely agreeing with what he says or half agreeing with what he says. I don't think I've ever been, well, I maybe have once or twice, but it's very rare that I'm in a scenario with Elliot that I completely disagree with him. So I watch videos like that and I discuss it with God, and God will provide me different views on it. He will fine-tune my opinions on it and my views, because God knows the truth, and he knows whether what I believe is true or not, and he knows what I believe. The next relationship we have with God is that of our chamber of secrets. God already knows everything about you. They speak about self-awareness. Well, we need this self-awareness because we don't know ourselves fully, but God does. He made us, he knows us, he loves us. He knows all of our secrets. And don't be afraid to tell your secrets to him. It will create that bond that he wants to create, and the only time God would ever reveal a secret is if, let's say, you had sinful, harmful intent for another human being. In his love for protecting that human being, God will often reveal that evil intent. But he's not going to reveal a deep, dark secret or something. Like if you have a medical condition, or there's something from your past that you're really insecure about, he's not going to reveal that. And telling him about it is really good, because you're not bottling it up, right? Bottling things up is never good. What ends up happening is it doesn't get destroyed, it gets suppressed, and it builds up and builds up and builds up in intensity, and then it all comes rushing out all at once, and you have a breakdown. And that's never good. I've been in those situations before, and it's really not good. One thing that I think is important to say is about things on your heart that you want to say. Like, for example, I'm a scientific Christian, right? You guys know this. And I have a huge desire to spread the truth about science and Christianity with especially atheists and non-believers, but also the other Christians I know as well, because they miss out a lot, and it grieves me. But the next relationship we have with God is as our therapist, right? Like I said, it's not good to bottle things up, and it will create a connection between you and God when you open up, but he's a therapist. Trust me on that. Let me get close here. All right? He is a therapist, okay? He's really good. He will let you speak what's on your heart. He will listen to you. He will answer your prayers. He always does. If it seems like he's being silent, it's probably because you're just not accepting the answer that he's given you. Or maybe he just wants you to wait and be patient. But God will always answer your prayers. Doesn't mean it's always going to be yes. A lot of the times it's no. But he will always answer your prayers. So when you tell him that you know you're not thinking straight, that things aren't good for you, and you're not in a good mental spot, and you really need help, he will help you, right? A lot of the times we struggle with God, right? We struggle against God, right? God's like this, and we're like this. But what it's better to do is to do a 180. So it's like this. Instead of like that, it's like that. So you're fighting with God. God is pushing you and you're going forward, right? So you want to fight with God, not against God. God will break you so that he can bless you. But you need to be willing to follow him through that suffering, okay? If not, this can lead to you actually going away from God and going to hell like you deserve. We all deserve hell, right? It's not me getting at you. But yeah, so he's our therapist. Another thing that he is to us is our teacher. So, as I said before, I speak to God a lot about my views on things, and what he will do is he will teach me things, right? So, if I have a particular view on something like masculinity that's wrong, or anything that's wrong, God will show me that it's wrong, usually. A lot of times we think we want things. For example, you might think that you want to play video games, but if God knows that it's bad for you, and if God knows that in the end it's not what you want, you decided you wanted to quit, then he might not let you do it, or your conscience will tell you not to do it, right? Elliot Halsey said that a lot of the times there's been things that he's wanted to get, but God hasn't let him do it. Because what he says is, all right, God, I have a desire for this, and you do with it what you want. If it's good for me, then give it to me. If it's bad for me, then take it away. But what God says to him, and he says to me and everyone, is he says, that's okay. I let you think that you wanted it, but you didn't actually, so I didn't give it to you, right? God knows. And he'll teach you a lot. He teaches us everything. He's taught me a lot about science and faith. He's taught me a lot about faith and Christianity, and everything that you ever learn ultimately can be traced back to God the Father. The last and arguably most important relationship we have with God is as our judge. Okay? I can't remember where it says it, but there is a situation where someone saw Jesus and they fell on their knees in shame, seeing him as their court judge. Okay? One thing's for sure, if you haven't seen my video on all of us deserving hell, you need to watch it. Okay? All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. There is not a single human being who has or will ever exist that does not deserve God's wrath. But he loves us. He sent Jesus while he incarnated himself as a human in Jesus, right? So Jesus didn't exist separately from God before the creation of the universe. Once he created the universe, he created Jesus in Mary. And my theory is the angel of the Lord seen in past times, which is Jesus, is from Jesus's perspective after all, because he does work in different dimensions of time, even though he's a human. So he has access to different dimensions of time. Don't ask me how that works. I did make a video on God's extra dimensionality, so that may help. I'll link it below. But we all deserve God's wrath, okay? And Jesus died on the cross. He was morally perfect. He is God. So what he said was, God my Father, hit me. Don't hit them, because they don't know what they're doing. They're just flawed. They're not evil. They're flawed, right? Some of us are evil, and God knows that. The ones that God knows are evil are the ones he will never, ever, ever let back into heaven. Satan is one. Satan is not flawed. He's evil. The angels are not flawed. They're morally perfect, just like God is. But they have the choice to rebel. And Satan chose. So did the third of angels that went with him to become the demons, right? And because of that, they're punished in hell. They're being punished right now, even though they have influence over us. And it can be quite scary to talk to God about our sin. You know how you go to your dad and you tell him that it was actually you that broke his toothbrush or something like that. You love him and you respect him enough and you trust him to forgive you, but you're scared at the same time because of the consequences. You know he's not going to punish you for it, and you know that he's not going to hate you for it, but there will still be consequences. Consequences and punishment are not the same thing. Punishment is when you are paying the debt of immorality, right? So God sending people to hell is God saying, right, you've sinned against me, you owe me, so you're gonna pay it by suffering eternally. And consequences is like God saying, okay, you failed here, it's okay, but the consequence is, it's like, I get angry and I punch someone, okay? I punch someone. God's like, okay, I forgive you. I know you're flawed and I know you failed. The consequence is he's going to punch you back, right? That's just an example. But God is our court judge. God is our therapist. God is our teacher. God is the guy that we talk to about our views. He is our friend. And he is our chamber of secrets. My spiritual takeaway from this is that we need to be very, very careful about our hearts, about how we feel about calling God certain things. We need to be mindful of our relationships with him. We need to be remembered to talk to him about certain things on our hearts. And we need to fear him like we would fear our parents. If you haven't seen my video about the death of the universe, you should watch it, because there are 4 scientific possibilities or theories about how the universe could die. One of them explains how the universe could roll itself up into a singularity and die in a second. And that is what the Bible predicts. The Bible is predicting that God will destroy the universe in a second. And that is scary. Like, God could change his mind. I could sin today and God could change his mind and say, right, that's it, I'm destroying the human race. He's not going to, because he told us what the future is, and to him all time is just one, is just like one thing. There's no flow of time to God. He just sees all the events. Einstein proved this with relativity. But we do need to fear him. We do need to be mindful of him. And we need to keep up our relationship with him. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, then do give it a thumbs up and tell me what you think about it in the comments. Let's get a discussion going. Do subscribe if you want any more personal development tips, any tricks, or just any life advice in general and wisdom. Thank you so much for watching, guys. God bless you all. Goodbye. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, drop a like and consider subscribing for more wisdom and personal development tips. God bless you guys. Goodbye.